Afternoon, Canada. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Parmesan. This is Niagara Due North, where we are working hard to bring you news about the election. So if you can like, comment, and subscribe down below, that will help this channel grow and get the message out to wider people so they can get the important message. Now, of course, everyone, like you heard, we have very important news going on today as Pierre Poilievre was attacked by journalists. And don't worry, he attacked them back. We are going to dive into that right now.
A question about the local candidate here in St. Catharines and his work with the anti folks in Florida. It was he called it the most important experience in his pro-life journey. And the Genocide Awareness Project graphically compared the victims of to victims of other atrocities such as Jews in the Holocaust. Part of the platform or part of the party policy is to allow a free vote in the Commons when there's enough interest in it. Is that something you're willing to promise him?
I can guarantee you there will be no laws restricting passed when I'm Prime Minister. For 20 years, the policy of the Conservative Party has been that there will be no restrictions brought in on a woman's right to choose. It's been in our policy since it was adopted by our party members in the year 2004. So this is a 21-year policy adopted by our members and upheld at all of our subsequent conventions. So there will be no laws or other restrictions imposed on a woman's right to decide to do with her body as she wishes, and that is something that I am guaranteeing to you and to all Canadians. I should just add that that will also be that policy which has been in place in our party policy book for 21 years will also be reiterated explicitly in my election platform.
So here you have it, folks. They try to get him on the abortion claim. Unfortunately for them, Pierre has been rock solid on his abortion claims. No gotcha moments here, folks. You see, I'm not gonna go over my views on the A word. Not right now, anyways. There are laws that have always been around. I don't understand how they can just come along and just say that their people are just going to make them disappear. They've been around most of my life. When they were not around, I wasn't old enough to know. So it's just pretty normal thing in my life. That's where Americans get Canadian conservatism wrong. We're different up here, guys. Doesn't make us less conservative. We're different conservative than Americans. And of course, in the next one, you best believe we got ourselves some CBC. Karina von Stackelberg, everybody. Trying with the gotcha question.
Hi there.
Thank you.
Hi there, Marina von Stackelberg with CBC News. Stephen Harper's former director of communications says, quote, blowing a 25-point lead and being 10 points down is campaign malpractice at the highest level. Is it campaign malpractice?
No, I answered that question 2 weeks ago. Liberals and lobbyists want me to stop talking about high food prices. Well, I'm not going to do that because single mothers shouldn't be going to bed hungry, worried about how they're going to feed their kids in the morning. They want me to stop talking about the doubling housing costs during the lost Liberal decade. I'm not going to stop talking about that. They want me to stop talking about the rampaging crime that's overtaking our streets and the overdose crisis Liberals caused that has taken the lives of 50,000 people. I will not stop talking about that either. After the lost Liberal decade of rising costs and crime and a falling economy under America's thumb, we can't afford a fourth Liberal term. We need a change with a new Conservative government that will axe taxes, build homes, unleash our resources, lock up criminals, and bring home a safe, affordable country for our people. Thank you.
See, I get what's going on here. He is going to die on this hill because voters are going to be faced with the choices of I'm afraid of Donald Trump and a dozen other major serious problems that are happening in their life. And I think he's banking on consciousness taking over at the last minute or over the last couple days. Hopefully something big changes in the voters' minds. You know, people say Pierre needs to do this and that. Pierre doesn't need to do nothing. The media maybe needs to share a little bit more of Pierre himself. You know, they're not giving him a lot of minutes. They just keep talking about Donald Trump all the time. In today's top story, everybody, we know about the Globe and Mail question. Okay? We've heard about that. We got the Carney's a-hole response and blatant lie. But guess what? Chief and editor himself, Bob Fife, had something to say about that. Here it is. And strap yourselves in, folks, because it's a long one.
Beijing lobby group. This is a photo that was posted to the Jiangsu Commerce Council of Canada's website. That is Mark Carney with the president of that organization. There were
You could hear it in the tone of his voice
several
that he's like forced to do this and doesn't want to do it. It's really funny to hear.
others posted from the same event. Now, the Globe and Mail first reported about these photos this morning, and later at his press conference today, Mark Carney was asked about them. Here was his response.
You can't believe everything you read in the Globe and Mail. So in your question, and I guess in the article in question, you said I had a meeting with whatever your term was, Beijing group. I've never heard of this group, okay? Never heard of this group. Certainly didn't have a set-up meeting with this group. Full stop. So check your sources before you write things like that, okay? Or your colleagues do. I'm a politician. I go to events where there are hundreds and thousands over the course of a day of different people there. That is not a meeting. If somebody happens to be in the room, takes a picture with me.
The most important news of the day, folks, cannot go down without a great hydration helping of Hydra fruit.
That's not a meeting.
Okay, I want to bring in our panel of veteran journalists, as we've been doing every Thursday during this campaign. Robert Fife, oddly enough, he is the Ottawa Bureau Chief for the Globe and Mail. He happens to be here, along with Mia Rabson, the Deputy Parliamentary Bureau Chief of the Canadian Press, and Joël Denis Bellevance, the Parliamentary Bureau Chief for La Presse. Okay, Bob, I do want to talk to you about the story you wrote with Stephen Chase. You saw the Carney comments there. Before we get to that, I do want to show a statement from the Liberal Party about the photos. This is what they put out. It repeats a lot of what Mr. Carney said, that he attends multiple events where he meets and is photographed with hundreds or thousands of people over the course of the day. That's the case here, too, as no specific meeting with that organization has ever been organized or taken. The web post referenced in the Globe and Mail is inaccurate. So is the suggestion that Mr. Carney had any such in-depth discussion. We have reached out to the organization correcting the record and asked that they remove such claims immediately. So, Bob, you're here. You're at the center of this. What's your reaction to...
Here we go, folks. So what do you think about that, first of all? Claim by the Liberal Party. The Liberal Party. Don't you guys see that this has been the theme over the past 10 years? Do such shady things behind such opaque doors that everything is always just an accusation and it's never 100% provable. Even when you just have a dozen things, shoving them in their face and shoving it in their face, there's just nothing. It's just always not enough to get these guys. So, what do you have to do? Be a photographer in the room? I bet you they'd weasel their way out of that. This is a picture of them having a meeting about heavy migration and taking over the Canadian economy. No, it's not. No, it's not. They're having a banquet. You know what I mean? They're just always able to weasel their way out of everything.
What Carney said today in the statement from the party.
Well, first of all, we never said that there was a meeting. We said that this organization met him, and according to their website, they had an in-depth discussion. That's the story, and which, by the way, that wasn't the focus of the story. The focus of the story is on the Liberal candidate in the riding that was replaced by another Liberal
Etobicoke
MP.
North, I think,
No,
yeah.
no, it's
Union Market.
Markham Union.
Yeah, sorry. My apologies.
And this man named Peter Yen is a former deputy police chief.
Markham Union.
We checked him out, and
Reminds
he
me of
is
Bubbles.
being connected to Beijing-friendly organizations, including this organization who met with Mr. Carney. They echo and repeat the lines of the Chinese Communist Party. The other groups that Mr. Yen met with were the Chinese Freemasons, which talks about annexation of Taiwan. He's been celebrated and had many meetings with the Chinese consulate, which we now know from the public inquiry into foreign interference that the Chinese consulate is the key organizing body for all of these proxy groups that try to influence politicians. So that was the point of our story. But here's the thing I want to talk about, and I'm glad Mr. Carney raised this.
Yep.
Because
I thought he
here's
was
the
over,
reason
folks.
why. This same group, if you go to the website, after they met him, they wrote a laudatory thing about how great Mark Carney is, how great he is and going to improve Chinese-Canadian relations. So what did we find out on Monday? The site committee, which looks into federal election interference, said that WeChat and China has been trying to mold public opinion involving Mr. Carney. What are they molding? Nice things about him, what a tough guy he is, how he can take on the Americans. So I guess the point here is, has anybody learned anything from the foreign interference inquiry or not? This is the strategy of China.
Exactly. Now, when it comes to the WeChat thing, it's hard to try to say that it's much different from what I'm doing with Pierre or what Pleb's doing with Pierre. So, I mean, I can't really touch that stuff. I'm at least in that kind of honest boat where I can't really have a problem with it. Does this not explain fully what China or what Donald Trump has problems with? Does that not explain it? Look at this. By the way, I'm not here to read the Trump thing. Canada's not in that whatsoever. Okay? He doesn't mention a single... lot of C words in there. China, commerce, countries. No Canada whatsoever. But check this out. Oh, I think Trump's going to hurt Canada really bad. Why is it only Canada and China? Why is it only Canada and China that are retaliating against Donald Trump? Notice it says possible retaliation. You know, because Europe's being like, yeah, you guys go first. And you guys jump off the edge first. And then we'll go if we see, you know, if it's good. Big trouble with Mark Carney, folks. Big trouble with Mark Carney and China. This election is about United States or China. What do you choose? Comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe, everybody. If you like the show or found it entertaining in any way, this is very important stuff we do here. Okay, sometimes I even got to put on like one of these, whatever these are called. Okay, so comment down below. Are you on the US side or are you on the China side? And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, folks, because I'm bringing you stuff, at least trying to bring you stuff every day. Sometimes I don't, it's hard. You gotta get subscribed, folks, so I can get that YouTube ad revenue and then start to slowly focus more towards on bringing you the most important news ever. Bye, everybody. I will see you tomorrow.